What's going on behind the scenes and off the microphone at the Magic Word podcast? Hear what listeners and guests are saying that isn't on the podcast this week on The Magic Whisper.
Hello, this is Scott Wells for The Magic Whisper. Well, it's a little bit chilly here today, and the weather is rather strange, I think, throughout the country. Whether it's freezing or there is heat due to the fires, one thing or another, a lot of things going on. As we speak here where I am near Austin, Texas, it's about 20 degrees outside. So wearing my 4F convention shirt because we're going to be talking about conventions this week, along with some other stuff. Well, let's get right to our topics. This week, I'm going to give you a little update on how I've been doing, and also I'm not going to be attending the Magifest. We'll talk about that and why in just a minute. But there will be other conventions that are being planned and that I will be attending and giving you some updates. FISM is going to be adding a street magic category. Also, Adair had passed during this last week, and there's a new look for Genie Magazine, and we'll talk about some of those changes. And we'll give you then an audio clip from this week's Magic Word podcast, which will be featuring Mortenn Christiansen. And then at the end, we'll give you a little future on what the Magic Whisper is going to look like. Well, I want to thank many of you who have been reaching out, who send me emails, who've called me and are concerned about my health. I had posted last week in the pod letter that I actually was going in for some heart surgery. I did. I went in last Thursday, which was just about 4 or 5 days ago. And so I am feeling better. They sent me back home to relax. I've had my feet up for a while, kind of relaxed, but I've also been just a little bit busy. In fact, on Sunday night, we had our annual installation of officers banquet for the local IBM Ring 60 and meeting, and I was inducted as the incoming president for this coming year, as if I'm not busy enough with everything else that I've got going on, taking on another responsibility. But the point is, it seems that this surgery that I had, which was called an ablation, it was the second one that I've had done, and the doctors are telling me that with medication that I've been taking and with this particularly new thing, which instead of, for those of you who know what an ablation is, it's kind of a heat thing that they go in and cauterize part of the heart. This is a new procedure in which it is something in which it goes in and vibrates, and it's done completely differently. It's a new process that apparently works a lot better. I feel a little bit healthier. I have been short of breath, but I think that's starting to hopefully pass. Keep our fingers crossed, because I've got a lot of things that are going to be, a lot of the conventions I'm going to be attending, one of which is not going to be Magifest. As a result of my health issue, I've kind of been making some decisions as to what I need to be doing in the immediate future and into the future. We'll talk about that a little bit later within the Magic Whisper. But for this week, I was planning on attending the Magifest in Columbus, and I had made the decision it's to agree with my doctors. I should probably be staying here and relaxing and resting up a little bit. My body is trying to tell me some things. So I unfortunately will not be able to give you those daily reports like I had hoped to this year, but I plan to return next year, which will be in 2026, to the Magifest. Speaking of conventions, there are a lot of other conventions that will be coming up this year, and I thought I was going to be cutting back on conventions. As it happens, there are still probably about 8 conventions, 7, 8, or 9 conventions I'm planning on attending this year, because I've already got plans to do so. And I might try to I'm definitely going to try to cut back on that next year in 26. However, this year I'll be coming up with Blackpool, which will be the first one I guess I'll be attending then in February. Looking so forward to seeing so many of my international friends who will be traveling over there for that event. It's going to be a lot of fun. I'm going to be arriving a little bit early, staying a little bit late. I'm going to be attending the Magic Circle while I'm there beforehand, and then going to be doing a Beatles tour to Liverpool that Paul Stone is taking a group of us on to visit. Anyhow, got a lot of plans, and then afterwards in Ireland, going over to Kerry and then Dublin. So after Blackpool. So That's going to be coming up. And then, of course, the 4F convention. Can't miss that. I've been attending that for like 40 years in a row, with a couple of exceptions due to some family issues. Then the Winter Carnival is going to be the 50th one. And I have, I don't think I can give you all the information about that, other than just saying it's going to be awesome. I'm going to be there. You should be too. And they're already ahead of last year's registration. So if you haven't registered, you should. Also, Abracorndabra in Iowa, in Des Moines, Iowa. I have not attended this. This is one that Steve Daly has sponsored for a long number of years, and I've heard nothing but just great things about it. So instead of cutting back, I'm actually adding one, and this is the one that I really wanted to add. So I'm going to be looking forward to attending the Abracorndabra. Let me also say, to reiterate what I did last week on the Magic Whisper, be sure to register early. If you do, you get a little bit of a discount on your registration fee. And if you registered last week, you saved about $25. You can still save some money if you register, so go check that out. Of course, I'll be attending FISM coming up in Turin, Italy later this year. Going to be going on a little tour before and afterwards with some friends while I'm there. Of course, then there's Abbott's Get Together, and I say, of course, these are ones that I just feel like it's part of my DNA. I have to attend. I mean, goodness, my headstone even is in Colon, Michigan, in the cemetery already, just awaiting me. So hopefully that's going to be a long time in the future before that I will be planted there. And of course, following that, immediately I head out to Las Vegas for Magic Live. And then later this year is going to be the Texas Association of Magicians. And then finally, I'm going to wrap it up with Tricks. I believe I'm going to be part of the presentation, which I'll be talking a little bit about the Magic Word podcast, giving a thing there at Tricks this year in North Carolina in Charleston, or Charlotte, sorry. With Scott Robinson and that group. So that's just kind of a snippet of some conventions I'll be attending. There are a lot of other conventions around the world that I'm not going to be able to attend. I hope that you do and you enjoy them. I know they're all going to be great. It's why I go. It's just to see you guys, and you're the ones who kind of keep me excited and alive throughout all these. Now, I said I'm going to be going to FISM, and I am, and I just got an announcement here today about something that is interesting having to do specifically with FISM, and that is that they have recently just opened a new category called Street Magic. And from what I understand about that, they are going to offer this now, and you submit your application by April the 1st of this year. And performances are to be 20 to 25 minutes. And they will be pre-selected rounds. And then once you're selected, it'll be up to 20 participants. We'll move on to the final competition, who will be performing during FISM at Turin. And they will perform again in diverse public places during the World Congress of Magic and judged by experts. So you can be part of something new and exciting. I think that sounds kind of fun. So if you are interested, if you're a street magician, that's something that would be kind of cool. I mean, to be recognized by your peers, I guess, for at FISM, and to possibly win a prize, particularly this being the first year for that. I think it's pretty darn cool. During this past week, I want to mention something that is notable, and that is the passing of another one of our beloved magicians in the world of magic, Ian Adair. Ian Adair was someone who has been around for many years. He always will be remembered for his extraordinary contributions in the world of magical entertainment. He was, as it says, a prolific creator and a guiding light for many. Ian's legacy will remain strong for generations to come. He spent 36 years at Supreme Magic Company, where his works were innumerable. His love for Supreme was undeniable. And he also wrote a regular column for the Magicgram for a long number of years. And of course, he was the author of so many books on magic for the general public. He just had turned 85 and had passed on January the 13th. And he is someone who has been very important within the magic community and someone who will be greatly missed. So rest in peace and aloha, my friend. One other thing I think is important that we're evolving, and that is a new look for Genie Magazine. This has been long in the works and has been discussed kind of quietly. It's like, well, just wait and see what's going to be happening. And then a little at a time, things have rolled out in which Richard Kaufman has said that he's going to be backing off and that Jim Steinmeier is going to be taking over and Julie Yang is involved and so many others who are coming in then as contributing editors. Well, with the new February issue, if you haven't received yours yet, either physical or online, I highly recommend that you consider subscribing to Genie Magazine. Richard Kaufman has always done an outstanding job with the magazine, and he is putting it into good hands. And from what I have seen, whenever I was looking at the new issue, it promises to be full of a lot of fascinating and well-written articles by some new contributors. And one of the things, too, speaking of contributing editors, Jim Steinmeier, in the video that he had talked about in the Genie Speak, that they actually will be having different people from month to month. So it's not necessarily the same contributor. The next month you will read something from that same contributor. There are so many people who are involved. You'll be seeing kind of a rotating list of contributors who will be regular contributors to Genie Magazine. And by the way, in the Genie Speak, it has changed a little bit, and I don't want to usurp what it is that, and to spoil what it is that Jim has to say in his column right there. I always thought years ago that the Genii, Genii, when Bill Larson Sr. had done that there was the Gen magazine and the Gen II was supposed to be the Gen 2 kind of a thing. But now, as I understand it, actually Gen I refers to plural of a genie. So a genie or Genii is referring to more. I'm just going to leave it at that. And it makes perfect sense as to that. I have tried to do some research and talk with some people who know about whether it was the Gen 2. No one can support that story. I think that is just rumor and innuendo, maybe something that I made up, I guess. I don't know where I've heard that, but no one seems to have heard that story except for me. I'm the only one who would be talking about the Gen 2. So apparently that is not true, but it is something that is, again, worth reading along with all the rest of the articles that are in Genie Magazine. I think you should look at that and subscribe soon. This week, we're going to be having someone interesting, as always, on the Magic Word podcast. I have held back for a while. I have so many conversations that I've had in queue that I've been waiting to kind of talk about and to talk with and to publish or to broadcast on the Magic Word. And this week, I'm going to release one with Mortenn Christiansen, who was a FISM winner from Quebec last year. Very funny guy. And he's from Horsens, Denmark. And I recorded this last year, I believe, following Magic Live. So golly, we're like, 6 months or so later and finally getting around to this one. It's just that it's so phenomenal. It's really good. I really wanted to hold this back, but I really want to, I think now is a good time to release this to let you enjoy and to learn from what he has to talk about his stage fright. Well, anyhow, I'm going to just play a little clip right now and let you hear just a few seconds of what our conversation will be like this Thursday.
Best. So I've always just had stage fright whenever I'm doing stuff. So going out and telling people, I'm a little bit nervous, was a great way of getting away with being nervous because it fit the character, it fit the act. So it could also just be a joke, which luckily a lot of people didn't realize that, he's actually nervous. It just looked like, he's good at playing that character. And yes, I'm pretty good at playing that one character, but also I'm nervous, and I just told you. So a lot of the character is me, that I am nervous, but also some of it is just a complete lie. The fact that I'm saying, I forget what I'm doing. No, I don't. Like, I have a pretty good memory. I know what I'm doing, and I've prepared.
Well, thank you very much for coming back and for listening to the Magic Whisper. And from week to week, this has been something I've been doing now for about 29 weeks. I wanted to try to add this as something that was going to be kind of an addendum to the Magic Word podcast, and to also encourage others to perhaps through the fact that you share this with others and like it, that it will help the podcast to grow. The podcast has been growing, but I feel like that it's kind of topped out, and I don't know necessarily, by looking at my analytics of the Magic Whisper, that we are adding more to that through this particular medium. So I'm uncertain as to what the future is going to continue or hold, or if there will be a future then for the Magic Whisper. But we will be back then next week, because we've got some entertaining and interesting facts that I know that are news bits that are going to be coming up. So just letting you know, I hope that you've enjoyed this and Magic Whisper, and that you've enjoyed the others that we have been posting for the last 7 months or so, and also that you will continue to share, like, and comment, if you will, on the Magic Whisper, so this way that others perhaps can learn about this then too. So even though that it may be out of date, there's still a lot of information that would be important. But I try to give you some information by keeping my finger on the pulse of the magic community and letting you know each week through the Magic Whisper.
Share the whisper with other magicians and join us next time on The Magic Whisper. The Magic Whisper is a division of the magicwordpodcast.com.